There's a moment in every man's life where he sends a message, says the right thing, and something shifts. Suddenly, she's more responsive, more curious, more invested. She starts texting you first. She thinks about you when you're not around, and she doesn't even know why. It wasn't your looks, it wasn't your bank account, it wasn't the dinner or the compliments. It was a sentence, a phrase, a subtle but strategic message that triggered something deeper than attraction. It triggered emotional fixation. Today we're going to break down exactly what to say, why it works, and how Stoic masculine presence makes it land with maximum psychological impact. Let's get into it. First, the Stoic foundation. Before we talk about what to say, let's talk about who you are when you say it, because the words are only half the game. The other half is frame. A Stoic man is grounded. He doesn't say things to manipulate emotions. He says things to mirror reality with clarity. He doesn't speak to get a reaction. He speaks because the truth requires no performance. And that's exactly why women can't stop thinking about him. His words don't just land in her mind. They echo in her subconscious. Let's begin with the first phrase. Phrase 1. I don't need much, just honesty and peace. The rest I'll build. This sounds simple, but when delivered from a calm, grounded tone, this hits deep. Why? Because most women are used to men who expect them to provide entertainment, validation, or emotional chaos. When you say this, you flip the dynamic. You're saying, I'm not needy. I'm not chaotic. I build my world. I just require truth and calm. That instantly positions you as a safe frame, a rare man who creates order instead of seeking attention. And here's the twist. It makes her want to be your piece, to be the exception, to meet your standard. Why? Because your standard is rooted in serenity, and that is irresistible to the feminine mind. Phrase 2. There's something about you I respect, but I'm still observing. This one hits like a silent thunderbolt. You compliment, but you don't fully commit. You respect her, but you're not sold. You're watching, not chasing. This triggers her need to earn your certainty. Most men rush into validation. They compliment everything. They beg for affection. You respect, but remain unclaimed. And in her mind, this creates the question, what does he see? What is he still evaluating? What else do I need to show him? That's the hook. That's how she starts thinking about you when she's alone. Not because you gave her answers, but because you gave her mystery, anchored in calm strength. Phrase 3. I don't argue. I choose peace or I choose distance. That's all. You're not being rude. You're not being passive-aggressive. You're showing a standard. This phrase is powerful because it removes you from the emotional chaos most women use to test men. She raises her voice. You don't match it. She pushes buttons. You don't react. You simply say, I don't argue. I choose peace or I choose distance. That's it. She won't forget it because it speaks to power without force, authority without control, boundaries without aggression. And when a man can walk away from drama calmly, he enters her mind permanently. Why? Because now she knows. This man has something deeper, something I can't shake. Phrase 4. You're free to do what you want. I'm free to respond how I choose. No threat, no control. Just calm clarity. You're telling her, I won't chase, I won't punish, but I will respond based on what you choose. That's masculine grace, and most women have never experienced it because most men either get jealous or get submissive. You remain stoic. You don't try to cage her, but you remind her your energy is not guaranteed. That subtle power lives in her head. It makes her rethink every move, and it draws her into deeper respect. Phrase 5. I've seen chaos. I've built peace. I don't compromise that for anyone. Let that one sink in. Because this doesn't just make her think about you, it haunts her. You're telling her, I've been through things, I've overcome storms, and now I protect my inner world. What does that create? It creates a sense of gravity around you. You're not a boy chasing attention. You're a man who protects his order. And here's what women won't tell you. They don't fall for the loudest guy in the room. They fall for the one who's least disturbed by the noise. That's you. Phrase 6. You don't have to impress me, but you do have to be real. This breaks the mask, because many women operate with performance. They mirror what they think you want. They hide flaws. They present illusions. But when you say this, you signal, I don't reward masks. I reward truth. And that changes everything. Suddenly, she's reevaluating, can I actually be real with this man? What does he see that others don't? That's when the mental obsession starts, because realness isn't common, and neither are men who demand it without pressure. Phrase 7. I don't chase. I attract what's aligned. The rest fades. Now she's thinking long-term. Why? Because you've just framed yourself as a selective man, a man who doesn't need connection, but who allows it only when it aligns with his values. Most men cling. They beg, they chase. But when you say this, she starts wondering, am I aligned with him? What kind of woman does he choose? What would I need to be to remain in his world? And now, she's not just attracted, she's reflecting, and the reflection turns into fixation. Phrase 8. I don't expect perfection, but I do expect effort. You're not harsh. You're not unreasonable. You're a man who values intention, and when you express this, it removes the pressure of performance, but replaces it with accountability. This is powerful because it sets you apart from two extremes. The man who expects nothing, the man who expects too much. You sit in the middle, balanced, rational, masculine. She starts to see you as a man she can respect, and respect is what anchors attraction. Phrase 9. You're beautiful, but that's the least interesting thing about you. This one flips the game. She's heard you're beautiful 1,000 times, but never like this. You compliment, then redirect. You acknowledge her looks, then dismantle them as the primary value. That creates tension, and tension builds thought. Now she's wondering, what else does he want to see? What does he mean? How do I become more interesting to him? This is where the game changes, because you're not hypnotized by surface. You challenge her to reveal depth, and that's where emotional bonds are forged. Phrase 10. If it feels forced, it's not worth keeping. You say this casually, calmly, not as a threat, but as a code. You're telling her, we don't do forced, we don't do pressure, we do flow, ease, and mutual effort. This eliminates anxiety. It also eliminates unworthy women. But the one who's real, who's ready, she hears this and thinks, I don't want to lose this man. This feels different. This feels true. And truth is magnetic, especially when it comes from a man who lives by it. Here's the part most dating gurus won't tell you. It's not just about the phrase, it's about the energy behind it. A Stoic man says less, but when he speaks, it stays. His words are rooted in calm intention, self-respect, inner peace, emotional clarity. And that's why women think about him nonstop, not because he's the loudest, not because he's the richest, but because he's the most centered. Final thought. If you want her to think about you, don't beg, don't chase, don't overperform. Instead, master your presence, speak with purpose, and let your truth create tension. When she sees that you're a man who can walk away, but chooses to stay only if it feels aligned, that's when she can't stop thinking about you. Not for a moment, not for a day, but for weeks. Why? Because you didn't just enter her phone. You